came back.
What came back? What is it?
To the Chapel Hill Church.
It came back?
No, it came to you. No, it didn't come back.
No, that's something else from them.
Wow, it's hot.
Yeah, turn the air up a little bit. Down.
Huh?
Turn the air down a little bit.
It's on, you want it lower than 74?
Yeah, put down about 72, 70. And turn the fan on.
You want me to turn the air on?
Golly.
But you can't, you gotta turn it, you gotta leave it like it is, it's going.
Turn the fan on. It'll help cool off.
Oh, the fan in here.
Where else? Where else?
When
Okay.
does that alarm go off? Like every what?
Hour?
On the 55, right? Okay.
You want to take it out?
No, we'll watch the time. I got it.
Because it's area an hour from whatever that is.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4:54 right now. Okay. All right.
You had to go. You don't have to remind Chico.
I'm about to.
Cause and Bokeh, Uncle Bokeh,
He's too quiet.
Uncle Bokeh.
I'm running out of the house.
It's usually the same start.
There's no door on here, so you don't pick up everything. They don't realize it. They're going outside listening to some music, I guess.
Thank you.
Cause he can't be quiet.
No, no, Uncle Chico.
Is that going to interfere with the clock up there?
No.
Okay.
I'm good
Are you hearing the AC, Daryl?
on that. I'm hearing just like regular room tone,
Okay.
and I'm not seeing anything on the meters when everything's quiet.
Okay.
So I told him to turn it down. You want to turn the air off while we talk?
What's that other noise?
It's another clock.
Okay. So then,
They were behind each other.
yeah. Okay.
You can push it up, yeah.
Okay, these are questions I asked before, and I'll ask them again at the end. And yeah, ask what you would like, answer what you would like.
Mm-hmm.
You can ask me anything. We're just having a conversation.
Okay.
So, would you tell us your name and your relationship to me?
My name is Patricia White, Patricia Ann White, and Daryl Jones is my nephew.
Thank you. And if you wouldn't mind, what year were you born?
I was born December 3rd, 1948.
I'm here to study the new Roxy, and in doing so, I'd like to ask a couple of questions about that. For you, what made the new Roxy unique?
Well, when we were small, like in grade school, Sundays was the day to go to the New Roxy for maybe a dime or so, and we were able to go in and watch movies and just have a good time. There was always somebody there to watch us when we went and when we left the movies.
What do you mean somebody was there to watch you?
Well, there was this lady named Miss Bobby. She was a auxiliary police woman, I think, and she managed all the kids. She knew everybody's family, and she knew whether or not you could date or not, so you couldn't sit in the movies with the boy to have his arms around your shoulders, or she would put the spotlight on you and tell your parent. So there was somebody always watching, even though we were in the dark in the movies.
Thank you. Quentin?
Yep.
Okay, continuing.
Okay, also, one memorable thing about the New Roxy Theater is that our dad, A.C. Jones Sr., worked there as a janitor. And when we were just old enough to really, I guess in elementary school, he would tell us we could come to the movies. This was during the summer months, and watch maybe half of the movie. And so we did that, and when the movie was over, then we had to help clean up. We didn't know that was part of the deal. It took a while for us to figure that out, that if we came to the movie, we had to help him clean up. And so we were sweeping the walkways, the stairways of old popcorn boxes and water cups and stuff like that to help him out. I think it was about 3 of us that did that.
Why did you go to the New Roxy as opposed to any other theater in town?
Well, there was another black-owned theater. I think it was the Paramount. So we didn't go there because that's not where our parents wanted us to go. They wanted us to go to the New Roxy. And then there were also movie theaters in town that was just for the whites. So we knew that we couldn't go there. So the New Roxy was the place to go for the blacks.
How do you think your viewing experience was different from white patrons? Like, you're going to the movies at the New Roxy, and then you mentioned whites having another theater that they went to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think your viewing experience watching movies was different from that?
Oh, yes, I know it was different because sometimes we got to see live shows like Tina and Ike and some of the other singers that would come and put on shows and things like that. So we got to see that, and they didn't. And the white theater, when we did get a chance to go there when we were old enough, there was a separate interest for us, and we always were directed to sit upstairs, and the whites sit downstairs watching the movie. And if anybody got rowdy, or if there was popcorn or drink or ice thrown downstairs, and everybody was made to leave, even though you wasn't involved and you had paid. So we sat there and watched the movies. If it was something that we wanted to see, as we got older, we would go there sometime. Not a lot because of the way we had to go in.
Can you talk a bit more about the viewing experience? So I like what you're saying about the viewing experience. Just because it was at a different theater was different because you had Ike and Tina performing. Did they not perform it anywhere else in town?
No, at that time they did not. Maybe some of the clubs, the black clubs. I don't know because we didn't know about that. We weren't old enough for that. But they other stars would come too. Right now I can't recall. But some people that was not well known, they would come. They would perform in live. This was live entertainment, and they might have 3 or 4 different groups perform, and it was different because we never saw that anywhere else at any of the other theaters, at the Paramount or at the White Theater that was in town. So the experience was varied, and it was more, it was gay, leaning toward what we like and what our parents liked, and then we were seeing blacks that we had never seen before perform and singing and dancing and telling jokes and things like that. We'd never seen that before.
You're hitting up on something I wanted to ask about next, which was, how was the new Roxy a part of your social life?
Well, it was what we did Sunday after church. Everybody would go. Different families would send their children to the movie. I think it was maybe like a dime or maybe 15 cents per child. And so we had that fee. Our parents would give us that money plus money for like popcorn and a soda. So it was interesting. It was where we went. We know that was somewhere we could go Sunday. It was the only entertainment in town, if I can remember, was going there. After church service, you kept your Sunday clothes on, or sometimes you change in something that was more comfortable, depending on what your parents liked. And Miss Bobby would meet us at the door. I remember one time we wanted more money to spend on popcorn and candy, and so you got in. You paid by how old you were, and we tried a few times to say we were younger than we were, but Miss Bobby knew our age. No, you're not. You're in the 3rd grade. No, you're not. You're in the 4th grade. And so I would tell your mom, and so we'd have to pay the correct amount. She would watch everybody who came in, and then when we were all in, that's when she patrolled the aisles with her flashlight. And if you were talking or you were loud or you weren't old enough to be coding with a boy arms around your shoulders, she would put that flashlight on you, and then everybody saw you, and it was embarrassing sometimes.
Why was Miss Bobby like that sort of
person?
Okay.
She just decided she was the matriarch for the community. She looked after everybody's child, and it was just on her, and to let the white establishment know, what kind of power she had in the community. And so they looked to her, and she kept us in line. But I can remember some of the kids got older, and some of the boys were driving cars with the loud mufflers on the car. She was became some sort of a policewoman advisory or for the police department, and she would stop the kids and tell them that the mufflers were too loud. She had no authority to do that, but she did that, and the whites liked it, of course, and of course the teenage boys didn't like it. But you just had to do what Miss Bobby said, or you'd be in trouble.
Give me 1 second. These things run hot.
We'll just keep on taking it down until we want to hit record.
Auntie,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned going to the movies after church. Why was that a ritual or a tradition?
Well, in Clarksdale, there was nothing else for black kids to do. We look forward to going to the movies on the on Sunday evenings. Saturdays, of course, you were cleaning and washing or whatever kind of work you had to do for your parents. But Sundays, you went to church and come home and you'd eat, and then you would get to go to the movies. If you were good, you'd get to go to the movies. So that was what all the kids, and so we'd meet all of our friends there. Kids, we associated with living downtown because we're close to the new Roxy in the downtown area, but there were kids from the round yard, the brick yard, all over Clarksdale. So we would, and a lot of us went to the same school, so we also saw each other. It was like a ritual, and it was something that we looked forward to. There was nothing else to do on Sundays or Saturdays. There was nothing else to do for black kids in Clarksdale.
What would you say is the best part about going to the New Roxy with other black people?
Well, we got to see each other dressed up. As at school, you didn't. You know, you wore your everyday, so we'd all be dressed up. And when we got old enough, the girls could wear stockings and our little spool heels, and it was just a time we got to meet everybody. We got to talk. We got to socialize in a different setting from any other setting in the community that we experienced, and you just got to see everybody. And some parents brought their children, so we got to see their parents. We were close enough where we could walk. My mom would walk us to the end of the street, and so you go up the street, and then you make one turn, and you were just about there at the Roxy Theater. So it was a safe neighborhood. It was people looked out for you. And as we walked our way, the other parents sitting on the on their stool on their porch, and they would watch us come, and they let our parents know if we act up or walked in the streets. But just being there, it was a time that we all got together, the community. I guess is what I would say. We just got together, and we would be looking on the walls outside of the theater to see what movie was coming up next, which one we wanted to go see, and asking our parents, this movie's coming up next Sunday, can we go? And I think our parents were glad for us to give them a break to go there. Miss Bobby could watch us.
There's another babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
What did you discover about yourself at the New Roxy?
What did I discover about myself? Well, I just like going there. Besides that, my dad worked there, and he'd been working there for years before we were old enough to go. And also my brother worked there. And so it was just like an extended family. I'd come from one family to the next, and it was safe, and there was no fighting that I can ever remember that occurred inside of the theater or outside. And there were people walking up and down the streets, and stores were open, and we had a dentist down the street from the Roxy Theater, Dr. Hill, and there were a lot of black businesses on that street that I can remember. And so it was just like our neighborhood. It was a safe place to be.
Talk a little bit about that street. What street was it?
I think that's Yazoo Street that the Roxy's on.
It's Sequina.
It's Sequina. Yeah, it's Sequina. It's Sequina Street. Yeah, it was safe. People looked out for you. You knew that you could walk out, and you had to always be home, before dark, because we'd go to I guess the 2:00 show and be there a couple of hours, and so you had to always be back home before dark. But and there were a lot of businesses on there, because we never got a chance to go into those businesses, because we had one route, and that was from home to the movies, and we could see other people on the street, people we didn't know and people we did know. So I just look forward to going there. Every Sunday we wanted to go. We had to be good to get our change to be able to pay to go into movies and have the popcorn and soda, and they had excellent popcorn. It was so buttery, buttery, but maybe too buttery, but it was really good. That and Hershey bar and Coca-Cola.
That was your thing on Sunday?
That was my thing on Sunday. Because my brothers and sisters, they would have something else, but we all wanted the popcorn. The popcorn smelled so good and it was so buttery, and it was real butter. It's not like when you go to the theaters now and you get, I don't know what kind of butter that is now, but it does not taste the same. Mm-hmm.
You also mentioned your father and your brother working there. Introduce us to those people. Who are they?
Okay, my father, A.C. Jones, that was his second job. His first job was working at a laundry, where they clean your laundry. He worked there all day, every day, and I can remember how little he made. I think it was like about $40 a month he made cleaning clothes, and he would work at theater to help supplement, the income. And if he wasn't doing that, then he was out hunting and fishing for extra food for the family. So he was always working. And so that's how we got introduced to the Roxy. And my brother, A.C. Jones Jr., he worked there too, but the way it came about that he could work there, the older man who ran the flicks, the movies, he became ill, and I think he had a heart attack, couldn't work anymore. And so my brother AC had been up there watching him. He liked the technology part of it, and he watching him, and they started letting him run the movies, and nobody knew that he was up there but us. And I don't know what they paid him. We'll have to ask him what they paid him. It wasn't much, but he did get some pay, and that was really uplifting and an independent type experience for him to be able to do that. He loved doing that after school, and he went during the week after school, and he did it on the weekends. So it was really interesting, and we never got a chance to go in free though, except for when we came to help clean up. That was the time when we got a chance to get in there free.
Was Uncle Boki, Uncle AC, probably the first black projectionist in Clarksdale?
Well, the older man was.
Oh, okay.
I can't think of his name, but I'm sure my brother will think of his name. I think the name might have been Buster. I can't remember. But he was the only one that we knew of in Clarksdale, was at the Roxy. And he did that for years and years and years, much longer than my dad working there. And he just became old and ill. And my brother did it for years. That was his extra income. He didn't have to go to the fields because he was working, running the theater, the movie theater. And no one his age had ever done that before in Clarksdale that I know of, no one.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm. That he could do that, yeah, and he loved it, and he didn't get a chance to mingle like we did because he was always up there. When he'd leave school, he'd eat and get ready, and I guess the movie would start around 7 or 6, and he'd go there and set up everything, and it ran well. Nobody complained, nobody knew it was him, and so he was able to add a little extra income to the family too, doing that.
What is your favorite memory of going to the new Roxy?
I guess when I got old enough to date, so I could have the boy put his arm around my shoulder. I guess that was a great time to be there. It was safe, and you were going to be monitored, and my friends were there, and that was the main, I guess, benefit, was that was the time you got to be with your friends. You couldn't really mingle at school and at home. After school, you had chores to do, but on Sunday evenings, that was where you went. As we got older, if there was something special during the summer months, we might be able to go during a week. but mostly it was the weekend, and I was responsible for my sisters and brothers, getting them there and taking them back. So it was just the main thing about the Roxy was that you knew you could go to a safe environment. You knew that you were going to have great entertainment. The staff there was great. If I can remember, most of the staff was white at that time. The people who sold the popcorns and candy and sodas and stuff like that. And my dad was the janitor. But they were all nice. They were friendly to us. And the person who sold the tickets, if I can remember, when I started, it was a white female, but then it was an older, mature black female that would sell the tickets. She didn't know us as well as Miss Bobby did, but it was just a place to go where you was going to see some things you hadn't seen before, see stars, because we didn't have TV. See stars that you had heard about, people you thought you'd never get to see. And the entertainment was great. The attire, the way they dressed, the way they talked and danced, we hadn't seen anything like that before. So that was cultural for us, and it helped us to see that there was something different that you might be able to do if you had talent outside of Clarksdale. Mm-hmm.
Queen wants to give this another go.
I just don't like to interrupt her when she's speaking. You're telling great stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, don't stop her.
You know what I would have liked when my daughter was growing up
It's okay.
was if there was a Roxy Theater in town, there would have been somewhere, because I was just thinking, what did my daughter do on Sunday evenings? It was nothing that was significant. She didn't get to mingle with all of her friends. She might have had a few, but that was the difference. We got to mingle with everyone there. And it would be nice if the Roxy, because we had heard rumors that the Roxy was coming back. It was going to be opening up. And that would have been a great activity for my daughter and some of my friends' children to go to the Roxy and see the live stars and see the movies, and just to know what's happening outside of Clarksdale and what you can do if you try. You can be just like those people that's up there on the stage.
So there's a real difference in like community, but also a real difference in growing up. Do you feel that she is maybe missing something?
Oh yeah, I know she missed a lot, because the amount of people she got to talk to mingle with, there were maybe a few friends. Maybe she had 3 or 5 that she could say, well, I want to do this Sunday with this person or these 2 people. But we got to see everybody, and we got to mingle with her, and we knew everybody. And the adults knew us too, the parents knew us too. So, and it was a safe place to be. So I would have loved it if the Roxy had been revived, and that my daughter was able to go and my son was able to go to see the stars and the live stars and the music. And they had great music at that time too. So it was the Roxy was important. It was important, and it still is. I'm still hearing rumors that there might be that possibility, and I'm sure if the Roxy was revived, that people would send their children there, because it's still an important issue, a talk in the community now.
We had a barbecue with the family on the 4th. Why was being there, and why was hosting important for you?
Well, it's important because it gets the family together, and they'd heard that a star was coming to town, Daryl Jones, you my nephew, and so a lot of the family hadn't seen you in a long time, and since you were small, and so it was my husband's birthday, my sister's birthday, not the 4th, but the 2nd and the 5th, and then for you to come, and so that meant that people came from Memphis and all around the communities, our family, close family, to see you, and just so that we could fellowship, we could talk about old times, and we could listen to music, and the blues is real important in our family as far as music is concerned. So it was just a great time to see you back in this atmosphere, to see the family who hadn't seen you, and to be able to talk on the phone with families that was in Illinois and Rock Island, Illinois, to call and talk and to let you know how glad they were you were back home, and to see. It was just a great time. Everybody brought something as far as food is concerned, because I'm not a great cook like my mom and my sister, but that way everybody had input, equal input, and nobody was really tired, and so we could just mingle and talk together and have a good time, talk about the old times, school, and here, because where I live now is where we, when I was a teenager, this was all cotton, and this was where we came to chop cotton. I can remember chopping cotton in this area where we live now, in the fields, we call it the fields, and had no idea that I would ever be able to live out here. But there's a old black cemetery up there on the road that's unkept, and it's all grown up, and and it was all owned by white people. But New Africa Road, there's some history to that. We live on off New Africa Road, and New Africa is where the Africans came. This was supposed to be their area, and that's why it was called New Africa. I don't know why it's new. I guess because they didn't come from the old Africa, so this is a new Africa. And a lot of black people own land out here, and now because they own that black cemetery up the road, but now it's mostly owned by whites, and we have a lot of physicians that stay up the road from us, and it's now. But I do think now that more blacks are moving to the outside of town into the counties and owning more of the property. But when I grew up, we were bussed out here in the morning, like at 4, getting up at 4, coming out here and riding the bus, just like going to school, but we were riding the bus to go to the cotton field. And we'd chop all day. And from like 7 to 5 or 7 to 7, $2.50 a day. And we weren't really good cotton pickers, but we did go to the cotton field to try to make ends meet, try to help buy shoes for school and things like that, even though I was not a good cotton picker, but I could chop good, and I taught my brother and my sister how, and a neighbor taught me how, and that was sort of how we made it out here. But I never in my wildest dream thought that I would be living or owning land where I was chopping cotton as a child.
What makes you the most important part of the family?
Well, I feel like I'm the oldest in the family of my sisters and brothers, and so I feel like I've sort of taken my mom's place. And my mom was the matriarch in the family. She didn't take no mess, even from the neighbors. She didn't. So I just think I took after her. She grew up with 8 brothers, and she was the only girl, so she had to fight. And her dad was an alcoholic, and he used to be abusive toward the kids, the mom, and to her. And when she told her story about how she left Dublin, Mississippi at 13, she ran away, came to Clarksdale, and worked at a laundromat to try to make ends meet, and got her a room on Sunflower. She talked about that, and then she was 13, and how, you know, nice people were, how they tried to help her with her being 13, and she also did working in some of the whites' homes and stuff like that to make ends meet, and so it was just amazing to hear her say that and how strong she was. And I just grew up listening to that, and so she's the matriarch. And they all, when she was alive, what we did on the 4th was what we did at her house. And she lived in a very small apartment, but we all, maybe 25 people or so, would fit up in there and listen to her and Daddy talk about the old times. She was amazing. And so even though she was not educated, I think she finished the 6th grade, she knew how to manage, and she managed the family well. And so I just felt like, even though they know that I'm not a great cook like my mom was, but that I'm good in what I do, and they respect that, and they respect me. And so that makes me feel good.
And there she is right there.
And there she is right there, Mary Frances Stornes Jones. And she was a beautiful lady, and she's just your grandma, and my mom, and she just kept the family going. And after she passed, then, you know, more of the family scattered. That's why some are in New York, in Wisconsin and Nebraska. That's why some of those, they are there. But when she was here, she held the family close. And so this is not the first time we've gotten together like this, but this time was, I don't know, it was just different. It was special that we all got together and had a great time eating and talking and letting the kids play on the water slides and stuff like that. It was just wonderful.
So we've been going to a lot of different places in Clarksdale looking at spots. And we talked a little bit about Issaquah Avenue. Anything you'd like to say about Yazoo Avenue? Do you recall?
There were a lot of cafes on, I guess it was Yazoo and Issaquah, because I can remember as a young girl, we have a cousin that's in Memphis. We would, I know we would be going downtown, and we were told to walk straight to the where we were going, and don't stop any place because of the cafes. And our cousin was peeping in the window, and so she got in trouble. You do not peep in the window at cafes and stuff like that. It's just not ladylike. But we just, what's the other part of that question?
Just anything about Yazoo Avenue.
Yazoo. It was just the people, how they mingled together. They sold food, chitlins, they sold hot tamales, they sold anything you want there. There was a business there, and they were mostly black-owned business. I cannot remember any white people on that street because the doctor's office was on Issaquah, the dentist that I told you about. And there was a man named Mr. Gates. He owned a piano repair shop, and he sold pianos. And so those are a couple of the business people that I remember, because, you know, I couldn't couldn't know too much about the cafes. But it was just, Essequina was a busting, hustling kind of place, and people came there and they partied, they talked all night. And from what I can remember, there was no police interaction that I can remember. I don't remember them talking about people being stabbed or shot. It seemed like people got along better during that time, and they supported each other better. Kroger's was on that street too, but of course, that was white owned, but it was around the corner on 4th Street. So it was just where people went when they wanted to hang out. We didn't have any other kind of social activities to go to. So when you wanted to hang out, that's where you went. It was on Essequina.
Tell me your favorite story about Clarksdale.
My favorite story about Clarksdale.
Something fun or interesting that happened to you here.
Well, I talked about my experiences, I guess, when I didn't have to go to the cotton fields anymore. That was a big issue because that was what we did for the summer. You didn't have the chance to go play. So Sundays, too, was where, we went to the Roxy. You'd work the field all day. So it was the idea that that made an impression, and to have an idea that you can go somewhere else, you can do some other things, and it's not in the cotton field. And some of my friends, as they got older, they had relatives in other states, and they started leaving. So it was good, and it was sad. It was good that we didn't have to go to the field and chop all day for $2.50. I can remember doing that. And but it was bad also that as my friends, as they got older, a lot of them was leaving the area, going to state, because they didn't have anything else to do but go to the field. And who wanted to do that? But our parents were not migrators. They stuck. They didn't want to go to other places. Just what my dad knew. His mom lived in Quitman County, which is about 20 miles from here. And my mom lived in Dublin, which is also about 20 miles from where we live. So, but things started changing then. So that was really interesting that we didn't have to go to the fields anymore. And the plantation owners had to think about starting paying people minimum wage, which I think was around that time $3 or $4 an hour. And if you probably don't remember seeing it, but up on New Africa Road, there's a white house there with a lot of trees around it, and that was the overseer's house. Because we used to go, when we would leave from here chopping, we would go there and get paid off. You stand in line and you walk up to the desk and they give you your $2.50, and the paymaster would. But the plantation owner's home is one house down from that, and one of the governors used to live at that house. And so I'm sure he owned property out here, and we were probably chopping and picking cotton for him. But if when you're on your way out, if you look on New Africa Road, there's a white house with a lot of trees around. The hut that we used to go to get paid, they finally took that down. But the man they're not the same people, but that was where we went to get paid from here, which is about 3 miles. And so they'd bus us from downtown Clarksdale, that's where we live, to out here, and we work out here all day, and then we get paid that day. paymaster's house up there. Come back the next morning and do the same thing. That's why we were all. That's I can understand why when people could leave, they did. But our parents just stuck. They didn't. They weren't migrators. They didn't want to relocate the family.
I think that's interesting because I do hear about the great migration of black people coming from the South and moved to
Oh,
places
yeah.
like Detroit and Chicago and
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah. Like
And I,
like
and
like
I
the people
want-
out here, the blacks sold the land so that they could so they could move, land that their parents owned, so that they could move, get out of here.
but ours stuck.
Yeah, I was stuck. They would not go, and that's what my daughter always say. Why didn't we move? Why didn't we go? Why didn't we go somewhere else? And so we're sticking, you know, because I don't know. I think it's just they won't, because neither my children live here now, but they won't. But we helped them to see that it was something else possible. And when my parents were taking care of us, we were surviving. So you had to, and when you have kids, you just can't up and leave your kids if you want them to be raised the right way and raised by the right people. You know, you can't trust your kids, sometimes even with other family members. So our parents just stuck, and our dad did not accept the food that they gave to the poor. We used to call it commodity food. And he just said, no, we weren't going down there to welfare to sign up for that. That it was cheese and something else that they will always give to the poor. And he never accepted that. That's why he worked, he hunt, he fish, he worked 2 jobs and anything else he could do. And his parents grew a garden, and so we always had fresh fruit and stuff like that. So we just kind of stuck. But I'm grateful that we stuck and that we were able to instill in our kids that if you don't, you can do fine when you go off.
Quentin?
Is it snowing over there?
He's not snoring. Sometimes switch. Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay quiet, but I just keep.
I know it is. You watching the clock there?
Mm-hmm.
Cause it'll.
Mm-hmm.
When I bought that clock, I said, no, I can't have this clock. I sleep light. I hear it. No, ma'am, you will not hear it. You know, and I don't hear it except that if I'm in here, I hear it. I got that clock because
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's maybe almost 10 minutes, probably like 8. Yeah, I didn't try doing that.
I got that clock, Daryl, because my mom, one of her brothers from the army, I think it was Tommy, brought her a clock like that.
Okay.
And so,
And you found another one like that?
uh-huh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's what I grew up seeing when I was little,
Mm-hmm.
because you didn't have a lot of clocks back in those days. That was a fancy clock.
You had it for a long time. I've spoken with A.N. Roxy, whose father built the Roxy Theater and the new Roxy Theater. And he tells me at one time Clarksdale had 7 theaters. The Tyson, later called the Showcase, the Paramount, and the Delta. And he says the Paramount and the Delta were owned by a segregationist. And the Paramount has that entrance that you mentioned around the back.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the Harlem, the Savoy, the Roxy, and the new Roxy, which catered to black patrons.
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell me anything about those theaters that you'd like to mention?
Well, you know, during those days, we knew about some of the names I couldn't remember, but we knew that we weren't welcome at the other theaters, and if I can remember, no blacks when we were going there, no whites when we were going there, attended that theater, the Roxy. So we knew where we were supposed to be, and that was to be at the new Roxy.
You gotta find out where that phone is.
That's math.
Okay.
I thought I had it on the side.
I was in you started being on the camera. It's just we fucking tried, and you did beyond, man. I'm quite proud of you, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Wasn't on silent.
Thank you.
So next time you got to say, silence your phone.
Mm.
We're getting ready.
We're gonna get that chime in like 3 minutes,
Okay.
but I think you should finish up what you were saying about the theaters.
Just that I remember I just knew the Roxy was where we were welcome, that you didn't have to go to the back door to get in, and that you didn't have to sit in a segregated place, seating area, that you could sit anywhere you wanted to, and that the staff there was welcoming, and they knew you, they knew your parents. And but the others, I didn't have a lot of contact with. I just went to that one where we had to go up the back stair. I think there was I can't remember, it was a great picture that everybody wanted to see, they were talking about. So we thought we'd go there. And if I remember correctly, we only went that one time. We just didn't feel that you needed to be there, and you had to go to the back and go out the back. And if you could not use the bathroom there. So we just never went back. You know, you have to learn sometime the hard way that you shouldn't be a place that you're not welcome in, and they're taking your money, but they're giving you second-class service. And it was just a learning experience for us as teenagers. But we always knew you could go to the Roxy, you could go through the front door, the staff looked after you, and your friends were there, and it was just a safe place to be. And you were going to get good entertainment, much better than what we could get at other places. Now the other, I don't know about those, because we certainly didn't go to those, because there was probably couldn't get through the front door there, back door either.
So that leads me to my next question. Help me understand segregation.
You mean the way I see it in my mind?
What
The
it
way
is.
I've experienced it?
Yes, explaining what it is.
Well, it's a separation of people by color, by skin color, and for no other reason than that. And I see it as the people who are separating us want to keep one race up always, and wanted to have folks think that they were in some ways better than you were, and just because of skin color and economics, you know. For instance, like the cotton fields, you know, keeping the blacks in the cotton field, their children never went, because when we were going, I didn't see any white children out there. We were out there as teenagers, and no place for the bathroom. You went to what we used to call the bushes when you had to go to the bathroom. And it's just a way of keeping another race or another group inferior in their mind, but it never ever really works for them. Trying to keep people down, because oppressed people will eventually figure out how to get to do better for themselves, and will rebel if it comes to that. So we experienced it in the school system, going to separate schools, walking homes through the white neighborhoods, and being called the N-word. I don't know if my kids have had the experience of being called the N-word, but we did on our way home from school, and so we had to take the long way around to get to where we needed to be because of trying to get home, because we didn't want to go through that neighborhood and they throw things at you and call y'all. So it's just a matter of trying to keep one group of people inferior and elevate another. And we know from history that never worked. It's temporary, that people will rebel and do better. And those who resist that, they're just going to be left behind. They're just going to be left behind if they don't figure out how to get along with people and how to make things better for everybody. Mm-hmm.
You touched on it a little bit, but I do want to go back to it. In regards to segregation, explain how it affected your going to the movies.
Well, it meant that I didn't have a choice, for one thing. We just had the one theater that would welcome us, that we could go to. So it's lack of choices, and it's lack of, but I can tell you though that I just know the entertainment, the movies was better. We had a better experience. Sometimes you don't know how well off you are, but we had a better experience. Would have been nice to be able to go to any theater you want to. Why they don't want you here, but they'll take your money and then try to make you feel inferior after that. But why would you want to go to some place where people don't want you, but still you have a right to go there? And why not? And so, and that was the way we felt about it, you know. That's why we tried the other theater, but you have a right to go there. Even though we went through the back, we got to look in there to see what was going on. We got to, in that environment, we got to feel how they treated us. And all they wanted was the money to come in. And they put people out for a little of anything. Everybody had to go. Then they had your money. So it was a learning experience that we hadn't had, because in our neighborhood, we was all black, and so we didn't have dealings with whites in that time. So as you grow up, you're going to have that experience. So it was just people trying to hold another group back, hold them down, and it never works in the long run.
So then you have the new Roxy. You have the new Roxy to go to.
Yeah.
To enjoy movies and to be with your
family
people,
and friends.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And be in a space that was welcoming to you.
Exactly. So what would we have done if the new Roxy hadn't been there? What experience would we have had to see new stars and movies and things like where would we have gone? So I think it was the Abrahams that and Roxy that owned it. So if they hadn't had the vision that this could be a profitable business for them, and that they could work with people of different races and stuff like that. But some people wouldn't have it at all, we know. But it was great that they had that vision, because it helped them, and it helped us, because we were truthful and frequent participants. at that theater, and it would, if we didn't feel that way, I'm sure we would not have returned over and over again, because that's what's happening at the other places. You just didn't hear of blacks going there.
Or going back after they went once.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. When the entertainment was better, you had good movies. I know the guys used to love to go see the Cowboys movies, and I like the scary movies. They have a different kind of reptiles and things like that. And so I used to like to go see those things. And then some of the love stories and things like that. But the live shows were the best, when you got to see your people providing entertainment. And they were smart, they were beautiful, they dressed in clothes that we had never seen before, and they talked differently than us. And it was just an experience that when you think about it, you were blessed, and that it was an experience that you could see your children participating in if the Roxy was still there, if it was still there.
I like what you're saying about what the people who participated live were bringing. So what was the style like when going to the movies? You said that it was usually like after church, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people were kind of dressed up. What made going to the movies special?
Well, like I said, it was the fact that you got to see everybody in the neighborhood, and not in your neighborhood, because you know the Clarksdale was divided up in sections: round yard, brick yard, downtown, upper brick yard, and a lot of us went to the same schools. So then we all got together in a different kind of atmosphere where we could relax and joke and talk and play and dress up. And so sometimes our parents would let us wear our church stuff, but most of the time we'd go in our play clothes. And because you know you don't wear your dress up clothes, your church clothes to other places. You have to say that. So it was just a great. It was a good experience for me. I can't think of anything negative about the Roxy, except that it really helped to, I think, motivate kids, and it helped to see other blacks like us, and some of them had come from the same places that we come from, and what they were doing, and they were traveling in beautiful cars and all of that. It was just, would we have seen that if the Roxy wasn't there? It's where I'm trying to think of where else in Clarksdale would we have gone if we weren't able to go to the Roxy and see how other people lived outside of Clarksdale, and then to also be able to meet with your friends and families and talk and flirt and eat and all those kind of things, and clean up for us at the end of the movie.
2 more questions and then we're done. When was the last time you went to the movies?
Whoa. We haven't been to the movies this year. Maybe? Trying to think, was there anything special? Sometimes there's a special movie that we want to see, but we went. A friend, yes, we have a friend of mine and her husband. What did we go to see? That picture about in California where the earth is earthquakes and things like that.
Okay.
We went to see that as a couple, 2 couples.
Okay.
But we don't go to the movies often at all. As a matter of fact, if I want to hang out with our friends, we just might go to each other's home and watch TV, eat popcorn, have a glass of wine, that kind of stuff. But we don't go to the movies like we did when we were growing up. We went every week, and we tried to go in the middle of the week if our parents would let us. That's what we all did. That's what this community did. But now you don't see that at all. And I think that's a loss for our kids not to have that kind of a place to go to. I was just thinking, what if we had that place now, the Roxy, where the kids on Sunday evening, now what do they do on Sunday evenings? They go to church, they go out home, and they play. Some might have some sports that they participate in, but they don't have that community, that camaraderie that we had when we were growing up. And that would be great now if we had that, so that we could send our kids. They get great entertainment and watch movies and feel safe, and your friends on a different level in a social place than you do at school. So it was just, I just wish they had something like that now for kids to go to on Sunday evenings.
Is there another theater in Clarksdale?
There was a theater downtown. I think that's on 3rd Street, 2nd Street. I can't remember now, but it was just not the same. I can remember going there too when we were young. But I don't know, it was just not the same. The movies, the entertainment was not as good. It had to be a picture that you really wanted to see. And we would go as couples and go as friends. But it was nothing compared to what we grew up with, our experience with the Roxy. It was just not that great. And then now I think it's not functioning anymore. It's dilapidated, I think. And but before that, gangs started going to that movie theater, and people were afraid to go. We never had that feeling when we were at the Roxy, but people were afraid to go and afraid to let their children go.
There was no Miss Bobby there to.
And there was no Miss Bobby there. So after that, I think they just closed. And now you see, when you go downtown, you see some of the blues artists working out of there. And I went in there to see a documentary a few years back, I want to say. It may have been the one that my brother was in, but we went there to see a documentary, and it just was not safe, the flooring, and it was just not a safe place to be. But it's not like, it was not like the Roxy. And I guess I had a special connection because my dad worked there and my brother worked there, and because of Miss Bobby, that she kept us in line. She might have prevented a few pregnancies, who knows? But it was a community. It was a community thing. And I wish we had it again to be able to send our kids, because now they don't have a lot of activities, sports. And I'm thinking about, what do the girls do? Boys do sports. What do the girls do? I don't know. They don't do much. But we used to love to dress up to go to the movies and walk home in your little spindle heels and things like that. It was just a different time. It was a different time. But we could benefit from those kind of experiences again. That's what I would say. I know I wish I'd had it when my kids were growing up, but we didn't.
Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you.
Wonderful.
That was awesome, and I learned so much.
Did you?